Hello, everybody, and welcome to Playing Hide and Go Seek. This episode today is how do we expect others to know us if we're not aware of ourselves and use our voice to have our desires met? So we put that in the hands of others all the time, and it creates disappointment. So, welcome to Playing Hide and Go Seek, revealing your greatness, a raw and honest exploration of how societal conditions has taught many of us to swallow our words and dim our light. Through intimate conversations with our guests who have journeyed from silence to self-expression, we dive deep into the culture, systematic patterns that train people to be in a comfort zone rather than their truth, harmony, and authentic soul self. Each episode weaves together personal stories of transformation, examining how childhood messages like don't rock the boat, keep the peace, or dirty laundry hangs here, be seen, not heard, creates adults who struggle to voice their needs, their desires, their dreams, their pleasures, and dissent. But this isn't about identifying the problem. We celebrate the profound shifts that occur when people finally give themselves permission to speak up. They deepen relationships, they have stronger boundaries, more fulfilling careers, and a sense of alignment of their core values. So, welcome, Alana, and welcome, Jacqueline. If you would like to introduce yourselves today, and we will dive into this amazing conversation. Jacqueline?
Oh, I love this conversation. There's so much to it. So I'm Jacqueline Kane, Heal Your Back and Triple Your Income Specialist, helping people get to the root cause of their physical, emotional, and financial pain so that they can create the life that they love. And I'm very excited to dive into this conversation.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. Very excited to have you here. Alana?
Hi, everyone. Alana Heim of Prosperity Alignment. I'm a cosmic prosperity activator, guiding you to navigate the energies beneath your business life and money. What I've found is we want the results, and yet what we are radiating is the energy of everything and all that is. And finding that cohesive coherence and really just recognizing that we're here to transmit rather than, just think that we're here to perform and get those results. It all ties back to prosperity from within. So I just come from that cosmic kind of perspective. I'm excited to be here, share whatever tidbits want to channel through today.
Thank you, Alana. I'm so excited. And I am Sunshine Lane. I'm an international medium, energy healer, and soul spiritual life coach and author. And I'm very passionate about what I do. I love working with souls here, and I work with the divine up there. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. So, if we don't have self-awareness, right, and that self-love, then how can we have expectations for others to know us? A lot of times we will think, how many times do we have thoughts that, oh, so and so knows me well, they'll get it, or they understand, but we've never really communicated, what we're desiring. And then we have like a disappointment around that, right? Like special occasions, a daily to day thing, like day to day can be occurring, right? That we're experiencing that letdown, that disappointment, and it doesn't feel too good if we're doing that, especially on a daily basis, right? So, Jacqueline, what would you like to share on this topic?
Well, I think it all starts because um, we've learned to put other people's needs before our own, which leads us to a life of not really knowing what makes me happy and sets us up for people pleasing. And we do that. Sometimes we don't even know we're doing it, right? It's not a blame thing. It's like you said, it's awareness. That's the very first step. Um, I had no idea that that's how I was living my life. I was just in this drama land of trying to make everybody happy. until it blew up in my marriage, in my life, my business, everything. And it was a catalyst to change and to become aware that that's what I was doing. And that set me on a journey to figure out, okay, why was I doing it? What set me up for that? And mostly it was because I was in a family that I thought I couldn't be myself because of how I was treated or my viewpoints of how I was being treated. I created beliefs that it wasn't safe to be me and it was better to be somebody else. So I thought if I took care of them and made them happy, that I would be loved in return. And we all know that doesn't work. That's just not how it is, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it took me a long time till I was in my 40s till I figured this out. And then I had to reverse everything and get clear on who am I? What do I like? And it took me a long time to really figure out what I like. It takes a long time when you're older. When you're a kid, you can ask every child what they like and they'll give you some ideas, right? But as a 40, 50-year old, it was a lot harder. So yeah, there was a lot of disappointment in my life. And I'm happy to say that that has reversed. Mostly because I learned to put myself first. As selfish as it sounds, which it's not. But yeah, it's life changing.
It's definitely for sure. And I wish that we could have like a wand and just go and everything would change.
Yeah.
But the first thing is bringing in that self-awareness, that self-love, because like you stated, Jacqueline, you had just shared that you didn't call it this, but it's a distorted lens. It's a distortion that, we have to take care of everybody else, right? Before we take care of ourselves. And the more that we do, the more that we'll be loved and all of that stuff. And it takes so much of our life force and our energy. And it's untrue. It's a distortion. It's far from whom we really, really are. And once we journey into this about self-awareness, self-love, um, it is a moving forward journey all the time. It's not something that you just do and it's completed. We're always changing and growing and expanding. And having people come into our lives that can mirror that reflection on, you know, more self-love, more self-awareness. We're so conditioned that you don't think of yourself. It's selfish, right? It's egotistic, right? Like we're not, and it's so backwards from the truth. It disempowers us, right? It's hurtful. It's letdowns. It's disappointment. We are here to give, but equally we're here to receive, right? And wherever that receiving may come from. So thank you so, so much, Jacqueline. Alana?
Yeah, you both have mentioned the word selfish, and this was ingrained in me, like big time, that it was selfish, basically to put myself first. And I am reading that book that you've brought to my awareness, Sunshine, which is Radical Forgiveness. And I do have to say that in this book, it helps to get that perspective that everything is for your highest good. Everyone is your angel. So as much as we can say, we learned this, it was imprinted on us, our family, our friends, the world around us, they were all showing us what we were perceiving to be a block, but it was exactly what our soul was waiting for us to choose to release it. And then it just disappears. And everybody else's behavior suddenly changes, and all of these things open up. And I'm still working on this on a daily basis of, okay, what is coming in that is blocking me from honoring my truth and sharing my needs and then asking for it. And it's buried so deep because of what Jacqueline just brought up with the whole people pleasing, but then also being selfish. And then I could also feel the energies within my family of this guilt projection. Like if, all of a sudden you just feel like I have to do it because they're going to make me feel guilty or make me feel bad. But the reality is, if I need this and I cannot do it because it actually dishonors myself, it's a no. And that's not selfish. And yet it's buried so deeply beneath, I can't have what I want. It's not about me. Everybody else gets what they need and I don't. But then to really start to go, okay, wait, what is it I am seeking? What is it I need? I'm not the best at communicating that because I can't even find it. I've buried and repressed it so deeply. And my soul has been helping project all of this for so long for me to finally go, "Ah, let it go." Or just to have the realization where these pieces are coming in. And to ask is a whole other world, right? Because now we also, especially because I'm coming from this place of take a breath, share with love, and ask from that place rather than the you never do this. Why don't you do, it's like all of as much as you keep bringing up disappointment, for me it's manifested into such deep sadness, but then anger, and then sometimes even rage of like, I'm so mad that this isn't happening, and yet it was never the other person, it was me. So then I'm mad at myself because I didn't hold the boundary or allow myself to get what I needed. I didn't ask for it. So it's always, this piece that we want to project and it comes right back to us. And it was never selfish. And it's like, oh, gosh, the things that I let everybody else dictate and say. And so now it's just coming back to that place of being curious and hearing what people say. And if, again, everybody wants to fix you, everybody wants to judge you, and it gets exhausting. But at the same time, it's take a breath, start again, and truly deeply, what is it that you need? And find what that is, and then just begin the process, begin to ask, even if it's not pretty, even if it's a little messy, you'll get better each time. It's just like you're trying to ride a bicycle that actually has, I don't know, like five wheels, and you've never, you don't know what you're doing and feels awkward, but you'll get there. You'll get better.
Thank you so much, Elena. And I love that you mentioned that there's different, I've mentioned disappointment or letdown, and you just mentioned like under that, there's so many different feelings too, layers of feelings that you just spoke of and shared. And we all are unique divine souls, so we all have that differently. And yeah, you also said it gets to a point where it might be like kind of thing. And that is like, even with what you just shared and Jacqueline just shared, like it takes away from that life force. It takes away from our energy, and it takes so much energy instead of just taking a moment, right? And kind of centering and feeling in your heart, what am I desiring and who am I going to share it with? It's exciting. We can take it from an exciting standpoint or curiosity. And with that too comes in gratitude, right? Everything will manifest. The more that we're thankful, the more the reasons that we know why we're thankful, the more gratitude we have. So for me, I have a really big heart and I love being around people, and I'm just all about love. Um, so it's slowing down and having healthy boundaries, right? And I'm I do, but not always voice about what I desire, what I would like. It's funny, an example of celebrations, an example of, what we've been conditioned to do. I think birthdays, for example, are really important. It's the day we decided to come on Earth and do this journey. to me, birthdays are like all about celebration. And each day is about celebration because we're still here, we have more to do. Um, and but we everything can be outside of us and for other people. And oh, it's so and so's birthday, what would they like to do? Or if they don't want to do something, we'll think of something to do. We put so much energy into others but not for ourselves. Like if we look at all the birthdays through the year, just like focusing on birthdays, and we feel in our heart, oh, how did we celebrate that? What did we do for the others? All that time, all that life force, all that energy we put into others, but do we stop to think about our birthday, right? And what would be, but as soon as we think of that, we might go into that guilt, that shame, that, um, being selfish instead of being and focusing on exactly what we would desire. And that's something that we can bring in every single day, but building that self-awareness, that self-love. And you mentioned boundaries, Elena, like healthy boundaries, right? And we're just so programmed, like you say, it's so seated in us that it's about everybody else but us. And that is ass backwards from what the truth is. So, oh, Jacqueline, what would you like to share?
Well, you guys bring up so many really good points, right? And boundaries are so important. And then you add in becoming a mother, right? And adding in children. How do you stay selfish and true to you when you have children and a spouse or a partner, whatever your life has become? I know I'm blessed right now. My children are grown and they're out of the house and we became grandparents, so I get to do it like all over again. But now there are times when I get to be in a house by myself, right? I get to have it the way I want. But I couldn't I wasn't good at it when my kids were young. And so it just adds another layer to you getting triggered as a mom with toddlers, teenagers, young adults, because everybody's fighting for their attention, right? And if we haven't said it, if we haven't healed all those parts of us that are still like, what about me? And I can't have this, and I got to take care of you, and I don't matter. Then all of that, I call it like the emotional cauldron that we're just adding to everybody's lives. So it's super important to have compassion for where you're at, for maybe thinking you're not where you want to be yet, or you're not focusing all on your desires because you're raising children, you're raising human beings. And I think we forget the impact a mother has on what she's really doing. She's raising our future generation, right? And if we do it consciously, then we have to be conscious of our stuff and who we are, and we have to accept their faults, and we have to be okay with things not being perfect, and that's kind of hard to do. So along with having awareness, like where are you in your life, right? And can you just have compassion and understanding that it's okay to have a downtime. It's okay to today. It's about my child. She needs me, or he needs me, or he's going through a hard time. Um, so with all of this, that was like the next level. Like have compassion for yourself. It's a process. It's not a race. Um, and all of these things come into play. You know, I didn't have good boundaries back then, and thank God I've done the work. So now I want to help my grandkids. I want to help my kids in a brand new way. And there's a ripple effect when you do the healing. You're not just healing yourself, you're healing your children. We're making our lives easier for our children and our grandchildren, each one of us, and all the other people who are helping guide people, right? So yeah, that's just what I wanted to bring up. Is I know, Lana, you're still in it. You have teenagers,
Mhm.
and it's part of life. It's just where you're at. and you're trying to run a business, but you've got them in the background. So it's a lot that you're doing. And I really have compassion for you and for all the moms out there were in your position because I wasn't good back then. There's no way I was like running my business, managing my marriage, taking care of the kids, running off.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I am I was trying to see like not in the kid weeds, but like the kid garden or like we're still growing and
Yeah.
the twins just started sixth grade, they're 11. And then my oldest is 16 or 17 and she's a senior. And so it's yeah, it's just so much of where I am right now and what you're describing. And when I really look back over this last decade of like having the business and doing these things, and even looking at, I really wanted my business even to do it because I really wanted to help people. And yet it's that place of honoring myself and yet then it's feeling like sometimes people don't want the help that I have. And yet then I have to go back.
Wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah. And for all the programs and things that I've been in, I always was around women who weren't in it anymore. Like they had already, their kids were grown or they never had kids or they were never married. And it was always like, this isn't apples to apples in the sense of, perceiving kind of where you are and it's very different. And yet sometimes we can make it look easy or people forget and think, oh, you just got your shit together. And yet I've come to realize that's part of the people pleasing or it's still part of the achieving. And I read another book, The Courage to be Disliked. And what I really loved is that brings you back into the present and not focusing so much on the past and getting stuck in the healing and like, oh, my mom and dad did this to me and all these things that you just start to look at what are you here to create right now? And so from this perspective, we're here to honor ourselves and our truth and to show up. And the guy brings up how we really shouldn't punish or praise somebody because that's another model that we all fall into. And so for me to really look at it and go, wow, I was the check the box. I was the, oh, but you'll give me the recognition or the attention because like, oh, look at me. I did what I was supposed to. And I was top of my class in high school and then went on to graduate college and my master's and it's just the constant need to achieve and then hope that you get praise and recognition. And yet, am I really honoring my truth? Because again, it was never about me. It was like, what did Alana need? I don't know. I'm just supposed to go do this and show up and then get my job and then go get married and then have kids. And suddenly everything that's like on our bucket list or the things that we thought we were choosing to do, we kind of felt like we had to do. And then once you realize you don't have to do things, you get to choose things. And I love because you said it, Jacqueline, I get to stay home or I get to be by myself. Get to and choosing to was never part of the equation. So if we can all come back to being present, really tuning in, what would you choose to do in this moment? Not because you have to, not because you already agreed. And if you cancel, this person's going to be disappointed. Freaking cancel. If it doesn't feel aligned and it drains you, I think this is where we just live for everyone else. And we live everyone else's movie, their story. And then all of a sudden, so for me, I have to come back and go, it's my freaking movie. I'm supposed to be the main character. Why am I letting everyone else dictate and run this? Like, no. So yeah, it's interesting because I'm definitely in it with the kids. And my daughter, Taylor, the older one, constantly reminds me how I am here for her. And she almost expects me to just be like waiting, like waiting like the dog at the door, like for when she gets home so that I can just jump at her any need. And I'm like, what do you think I was doing before I had you? Did you think, because you think I live for you now, what did I do before you existed? And what she actually said was, oh, you lived for your mom. And I was like, oh my God. So again, it's like, it's not about me. And I'm like, okay, new boundaries, like time for me to choose more of get to rather than have to, and having my kids think that I'm just like the doormat or I don't know, whatever they think I need to be for that moment.
That's, oh, I love you both so much. And that is adorable, right? Like, it can almost feel like a puppet or a puppet master, right? Like, or an aunt, and I love what you both shared. And like you just shared, Elena, right? Something that you spoke of or feel in your eldest daughter's energy, you're like, it's not working. Like she's not, you know, getting it. We have to change it up. So yeah, there's just so much. And I'm really happy, Jacqueline, that you brought up being a mom and children. And Alana, you're still in it. And I think we're always in it, no matter
Yeah.
what. But it changes when, there's that empty nest. And I just when you were both speaking, I was taking it back to, and I love being in the present. I absolutely do, because I think being in the present allows us to be grounded and rooted and embed it in ourselves, so we can take it to our oversoul, right? If we're not in there, if we're just like robotic, we can't take that with us. And I love to do everything that we can take with us because I have no interest in doing it again, right? Like, so. Um, but like I'm thinking back to we had a hard time conceiving, but when I did have my first daughter, she's going to be 30 in September. But um, I remember I would have had a postpartum because I remember everybody starts treating you even when you're pregnant differently, right? They'll open the door for you. People will look at you differently too because you've gained weight, but they open the door for you. They're more considerate. And then you have the baby and you have this extra weight and people drop the doors in your face, right? Like, so the person that you were, right, before pregnancy, you were always a beautiful, unique, divine soul. But everybody, treats you different when you're pregnant. You have the baby and you become invisible, right? You walk into a room, you open a door, and they're like, "Oh," right? And you're not even, your name's not even used anymore, right? You go to mom, right? Like everything's mom. It's like, well, where did I go? Right? So it's all that adjustment and you lose yourself in all of that, right? You can feel like you're a caged zooed animal when you're dealing with little ones, right? Or teenagers and the more work that you both spoke of that we do in ourselves, it changes for our generations, our ancestrals. We're breaking the pattern, right? A lot of times I will see a lot of people that, and hear the stories that they were brought up with abusive situations or alcoholic family or culture or whatever it is. That's our foundation, what we were born into, the biggest thing that we need to heal and let go of, right? And the more we can heal, the more we break it for the generations. And that's very empowering, right? That's, um, it's such a beautiful moment when you can take in those experiences and know and feel that as a mom, you did a good job. And we should celebrate that more because we're always thinking that CD playing, right? What did I do wrong? And da 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 da, and right? And they're going through this and they're going through that. But there is so many things that bypass us that we can't necessarily see, right? I'll share you an experience. I was with my grandbaby about a month ago and my daughter. And of course, on holidays, busy doing this and that. And, we did take a lot of time in nature. But the last thing we did is we went to a pedal beach. And, the waves were coming in and out, which I absolutely love. But I started picking up crystals, rocks, right? And my grandbaby started doing that. And then his mom started doing that. And that's how the kids were raised, right? On, you know, picking crystals. That's something that we did. And they were so precious that they would buy, think they could buy things with it. They put it up on the register kind of thing. And to do that with the grandbaby and my daughter was surreal. It just filled my heart on like, okay, everything's, going to be fine. And the more that work that I do, the more that I can experience like that. And to have, my daughter run up, "Mom, Mom, look at this one, right? And the, you know, grandbaby, it was just so precious. So being a mom, being a grandmother, we can get lost kind of thing on giving. And yes, I'll be more of because I did growth and I did work, it's a lot different from when you had the children and raised the children to what it is now. A lot of people will talk about too, or take the same patterns on about, it was an abusive family, like whatever. But there comes a time, right? That's our foundation of what the biggest thing we're here to heal. But there comes a time that, we got to step into that we're in our adult lives, right? And we can choose this, or we can choose that, or we can choose this, or we can choose that. And, choosing what is best for you is the seed of all things, right? That self-love and that self-awareness and what fills you up. And how maybe we should start documenting each, like where to start that self-awareness, that self-love. Document what do you do in a day for yourself, right? How do you use your voice in a day for yourself? That is self-awareness, that is self-love. And you know we have a life force, we have our energy here on the physical, but we never ever know when that's going to run out, right? So we try to be the best that we can possibly be and find our way. And everybody's so unique in all of that. So thank you very much, Jacqueline and Atlanta. Is there anything that anybody would like to share or anything that's coming up?
I would like to just share, we are all unique and everybody's life is unique. And if anything, I would wish that starting today, we could judge ourselves less, judge our neighbors less, and just get curious as to why people are doing what they're doing and let go of the negativity and just get curious.
And that's beautiful. And that's, I work from a place of love, and everything that's not love is fuckery to me. And I won't play with the fuckery. I'm there in my life, don't want to feed it, don't want to put energy into it. I have no idea. It's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine and moons and stars. There's going to be a little bit of caca and stuff. But you process it, right? And you see the lessons and the treasures and the gifts.
Yeah.
But yes, the negativity, right? That, that if we pay attention to that and get into that, that is like the 3D. It's also feeding that vibration and frequency. And do we really want to feed that in any shape or form? So thank you, Jacqueline, Atlanta.
Mhm. I want to add that it is okay to be emotional. And I've met a lot of people who are afraid of emotions because they think if they get into their emotion, it'll never stop. And it's not true. Physically, I know there's probably some study or science and it's like 90 seconds or you're gonna feel it, but the gold is within the emotion. So if that disappointment does hit, why? What's at the heart of that disappointment? What is it that really you haven't opened up to see and find the gold, which is, oh, I let them walk all over me. I didn't speak up. I didn't honor myself. I didn't think about me. And maybe that's the part that's disappointing, where you see that you keep looping. Maybe you feel sad. Maybe you feel angry. All of the emotion has the wisdom for you to shift your next response rather than reaction, and to just allow the emotions to continue to guide you, right? They're your raft. And if you're going into dark waters, you get to steer it into a new direction and allow, again, that wisdom to kind of be the motor to pull you out and go towards the sunset, and allow it to just really honor you where you're honoring you, which means then that's the energy that you're asking for people to reflect as well, for them to honor you.
Yeah, thank you, Elena. It's like taking responsibility for the choices we make, and we always have those choices. And emotions are, like you say, they're golden. They're, without feeling, without emotion, we'd be like zombies. And we'd all be the same kind of thing. And what? Like, how that wouldn't make sense. So our emotions are our treasures and gifts and lessons and golden nuggets, and where our growth and expansion is, and our higher consciousness, right? And our perception. So it is so important to feel our emotions. And I, too, constantly share with people. I remember when the kids were little, they'd be like, well, why everybody comes in and cries really hard, Mom? Well, it's a release. And I still, all the time experience. And and people apologize. And it's like, no, it's a beautiful, if you're crying, it's a beautiful release, right? It's just coming. I have somebody that I work with that has a brain injury and she's unable to cry. But I can feel when we're in sessions that emotion and that feeling, and it's getting released energetically, but it's not physically how we think of it. So the feelings are what blocks up our body and system, causes the dis-ease in our flow of energy, causes the pain, right? And can cause disease if we don't take care of it. And it's emotions, it's feelings, it's something that we experience over 500 a day. And we can't feel them all, but they're there for a reason, like Alana was saying. And so using our voice on what our needs are, it could be easily as much as like asking, somebody in a relationship or like for a touch, right? I always call out my family. I'll go to kiss them. I'm a hugger, I'm a kisser. I love touch. And, I'll lean in for a hug, I'll get a hug. But then when the kiss, you always get that turn at the cheek, right? Right, with the kids and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's fine, but I would like a kiss too. Isn't I'm not looking for the lips, right? I'm looking for like to give them a kiss, but I would like that back. And I always speak of that. We have a bell in the house, a red bell that I used to always ring for hugs, right? Ding ding, hug bell. So it can, where our desires can be something like that, right? That we want to hug the kids. We want them to kiss us, right? Maybe to ask us questions. We always seem to be asking the kids questions. But nowadays, if you don't ask questions, then how do you start a conversation, right? So it's just whatever we desire is what we are feeling in that moment. And we have every right. We're worth it. We deserve it, right? So, yes, everybody have a magical day. Thank you for staying in tune and watching this episode. And we'd love to hear your comments, right? If you're not comfortable putting it on the YouTube or Facebook, reach out to us individually, email us. And this is in our heart and soul, so we would love, love to hear from you. Everybody have a magical day and sending lots of love. Bye bye.